What would it be like to spend an entire summer working as a shepherd high in the mountains?
From April until October, they're here full time.
In this film, you'll get to meet some of the last true shepherds of Europe.
Elci, szybki jesteś! I don't think I can keep up with so much mud!
In a world that's losing its connections to tradition at a breakneck pace, these shepherds are some of the last guardians of the old ways. Thanks to the legendary local shepherd Jarek Buczek, I got exclusive access to film with them as they wrap up the season and spend a few last days with their animals up on the mountain before winter.
Czy to jest robota dla każdego, czy tylko dla wybranych?
So, could you live like this? Let's watch and see.
It is 7:30 a.m. in October. Rainy, very, very rainy, quite cold. And I can't drive up this road because it is incredibly muddy. So I'm gonna have to walk all the way to the shepherd's hut. Today is the kind of day where all you want to do, all that most people would want to do, is just like bury yourself deeper inside your duvet, inside your bed, and not come out. But I guess that's a luxury that the shepherd life doesn't really allow you, so I'm gonna go up there and see what that's like.
But before I could reach the hut, I got swarmed by a pack of giant shepherd dogs who protect this property and its sheep.
If you didn't know these dogs, you'd have the right to be terrified. They are huge. Hi, Baba. Hi, hi, hi. Chodź, chodź, chodź. So many. Yeah, okay. You know, once you get here, you've got views like this. You get to pet the dog. Feels kind of nice. His head is like 3 times the size of mine.
The hut I'm filming at is called a bacówka in Polish. It belongs to Jarek Buczek, who is a famous local shepherd who's been at the forefront of maintaining local herding traditions. And this is Kamil. He's 25 years old and he is a shepherd, or a juchas as they're better known here. He's lived and worked at this hut all summer long.
So one of the most special things about, you know, these shepherds' huts in the Polish mountains is that the shepherds actually live here all summer long. So from April until October, they're here full time, living in the hut with the animals. And I'm about to show you something really special. Like, if you come here as a tourist in the summer, you can take a look at the hut, you can buy some cheese, but I want to show you inside the actual living quarters, which is something that you don't see very often. A czekaj, a co to jest? Co to jest? Co to jest? To. This is a shower, you guys. What an amazing shower cabin. Look at that view. That's beautiful. Okay, let's go inside. Dobra, idziemy. Oh, super. The guys are super, super busy getting ready to leave the hut tomorrow. And they left me here to take a look around. And I don't know about you, but I love this place. It is so sweet, so adorable. It's like a little mountain studio. Like, people pay a lot of money to stay in places like this, you know?
No luxuries here, just some bare essentials. In the summer, Kamil and the other shepherds spend all their waking hours outside with the animals. So these 4 walls are literally just that. A shelter to protect them from the elements at night.
A macie tutaj prąd?
Prąd?
No.
W tym miejscu?
No.
W tym miejscu nie.
Na Bacówce ale na Bacówce w ogóle jest prąd?
Tak, no i to za solara mamy, nie?
Aha. A wodę skąd macie?
No za źródło.
Aha.
Z góry.
I da się żyć.
Właśnie. Ze zasięgiem jest trudno, a internetu takiego nie mamy. Co nie?
No to co się robi wieczorami, żeby się, nie wiem, nie nudzić?
Gadka, szmatka.
It was time for Kamil to head out with the sheep. It was a cold and rainy October day. The kind of wet cold that chills you down to the bone the moment you stand still. But when your job is herding sheep, you can't allow yourself to indulge in such minor details as the cold. Whenever I've spoken to shepherds around the world about the weather, they always seem to say there is no such thing as bad weather. There's just weather.
I got so busy flying the drone that I didn't realize just how far Kamil got with the sheep. So I'm just trying to catch up. It's so fast. The good news is that even if you can't see the sheep, you can hear them because of the bells. So, you hear that? It's definitely coming from that direction. One of the few redeeming qualities of rainy weather and mud is that you can actually see the tracks of the sheep in the mud. So I'm gonna play tracker and follow those. God. Where am Szybki jesteś. Myślałam, że cię dogonię, a tutaj musiałam biec przez las, nie?
Pomału to sobie, z kroku na krok.
Z kroku na krok. To brzmi tak prosto, nie? Tak łatwo. Czy to jest robota dla każdego, czy tylko dla wybranych?
No, to trzeba lubić, nie?
No.
No, to tak ćwiczę. No, ale misiu.
It's a little bit hard to film anything with so many dogs constantly on top of you. A tak dziennie, to ile kilometrów robicie? Jak myślisz?
No tak, teraz tutaj buduje się minut, to więcej, co nie?
Tak?
No, tak 15 km.
15 kilometrów dziennie. I jak czujesz to w nogach?
Ja wiem.
Nie?
Coś kasi, ale daję radę.
A u ciebie, powiedz jeszcze raz, jak to wyglądało, bo mówisz, że trzeba to mieć we krwi. To u ciebie to jest we krwi?
Ja wiem, chyba tak, bo dziadek pracował, drugi dziadek juchasił, no to pewnie po dziadkach. Mam to, co nie?
When I asked Kamil when he first started working out here, he said at 16 years old. At 16, he was already responsible for a herd of 800 or 900 sheep and walked these hills alone all summer long.
Wiesz, większość 16-latków myślę, że nie podołałaby takiej robocie.
Telefony, co nie?
No, dokładnie. Trying to be very mindful and very demure, walking very slowly. I don't want to spook these guys, because if I do, they could scatter, and I think that would ruin Kamil's day. So I'm no shepherd, but trying to do my best. I think I'm accidentally hurting them though.
So these sheep don't actually belong to the shepherds. It's a motley crew of sheep that belong to various people from villages all around the area. At the start of the season, in early spring, the sheep get dropped off here by their owners, who pay a symbolic fee to the herder to take them out over the summer. Every year, the herd gets smaller because fewer and fewer people own sheep. The small herd is a really powerful reminder that this way of life and all the traditions that come with it are also slowly disappearing.
Kamil is way up ahead once again, but when you have a giant flock of sheep with you, it's kind of hard to get lost. So yeah, I feel like I'm one of the flock now. Dla kogoś, kto nie wie, jak wygląda twoja praca, jak w ogóle wygląda praca Juhasa czy Bacy, powiedz, jak to wygląda? Jak wygląda typowy dzień?
No typowe, trzeba wstać rano, łowca podoić pirsę. No i wiadomo, ten co pasie, no to idzie z łowcami paść, a jeden na przykład dostaje z bacą i pomogą mu przy serach. No, no i tak miło. Później zaś po południu zaś trzeba doić, no i do wieczora.
Czyli
Długiego snu nie ma, nie?
trudna to jest praca?
No czy ja wiem. No na pewno ten co nie robi to by powiedział, że trudno, ale tak ja no to przyzwyczajony, no to wiem jako jest, no to dla mnie to tam nie ma różnicy. To, no.
A co lubisz w tej pracy?
Tej pracy?
No.
Co lubię? To jest takie hobby, no łowca paść, to takie wiesz. No.
A jest coś, czego nie lubisz?
Czego nie lubię? A chyba nie.
Naprawdę?
chyba nie.
You know, Kamil said something earlier that really resonated with me. He said that in order to really love this job, you almost have to have it in your blood. It has to be like running through your veins. And I can so see that. You know, I really feel like the job of a shepherd is one of the toughest jobs in the world, but it is also one of the most human, if you know what I mean. Because we were meant to be out here in places like this, outside, being active, breathing in fresh air, you know? Not locked up in tiny apartments in smog-filled cities. Oh my God, how do they do it? I don't think I can keep up with them. So much mud. Ah! Careful, careful. Just don't die. Ah! This is on another level.
Eventually, at the end of the day, Kamil and the sheep and the dogs make it back to the hut. The summer days are long. Often they're out for more than 12 hours a day. But as the winter draws near and the days grow shorter, they need to be back in safety before dark. These forests are home to wolves, and sheep make for easy prey. At the hut, behind an electric fence, they're safe. I would have loved to show you how they milk the sheep, but this late in the season, milking doesn't happen anymore. Let me know if you'd like to catch up with the shepherds at the height of the season next year, and I'll think about coming out here to film with them again.
This is the last night that the sheep will spend up here on the pastures for the next 6 or 7 months. Tomorrow is the end of the season, the end of the sheep herding season, and so everybody will go down to the safety of the village for the rest of the autumn, all of winter, and some of spring. So this place will feel very, very quiet and empty all of a sudden. It does kind of amaze me that the only thing separating these sheep, very, very precious 600 sheep, the only thing that separates them from the wolves, the bears, and just, you know, the remoteness of this place is this flimsy electrical fence and a few dogs, of course. I mean, the dogs themselves are incredibly hardy and they are bred to ward off wild animals like wolves. So I guess that all makes sense.
In the meantime, Kamil made sure that the cheeses were smoking well over the fire. The next morning, the shepherds started packing. With the herding season ending, the hut will remain empty until next spring.
So this dog is unfortunately a little bit injured, so the guys are going to take him back to the village. He's not going to herd sheep anymore.
Kamil headed out for one last walk with the sheep. Later today, the entire village will celebrate this past season, but for now, things are still quiet up on the mountain. I managed to catch Jarek, the local batza, or hut owner, in a rare moment of peace.
Sezon tak przelecił te 5 miesięcy jak ta najszybsza wskazóweczka. Życie to jest tak jak zegar. Jak jest młody, to idzie tak jak te godzinne, wskazówki godzinne. Później czym starszy, to jest tak jak minuty, a później sekundy.
No tak.
To takie jest życie. Sezon, a życie jest życie. Tam wybierasz, gdzie lubisz. No i ja lubię tu wyjść i czasami człowieka jak więcej wchodzi nerwów, więcej wszystkiego, to bierowce uciekam w górę i cisza i tam się jest w porządku.
I was wondering what Jarek thought about the future of sheep herding out here. Given that there are fewer and fewer sheep every year in the herd, will these traditions survive?
100 roków narzekali, że już będzie likwidowała Expo. No i będzie może nadzieja.
I coś
może nadzieja, no bo nikomu się nie chce po prostu rzucać dobrości światowych i iść po prostu w teren, w żywioł, żyć z naturą. Tu trzeba zgodnie z naturą żyć, nie? Czy leje, czy świeci, to się gada, że każda pogoda jest dobro.
Tak.
Każda jest dobro. Każda jest dobro, tylko jak komuś się nie odpowiada, to są ludzie nieodpowiedni do pogody.
No tak.
No, tak to jest każda dobra. Nie? Trzeba być przygotowany na wszystko. Jak cię zwierzęta i przyroda nie nauczy spokoju, to cię w życiu nie nauczy. To jest taka zasada.
Tak.
W górach, to nie tylko u nas tu, ale wszędzie po całym świecie w górach.
Tak.
Aside from working hands, I was curious to find what Jarek saw as other challenges to the traditional ways, and his answer surprised me.
Teraz jest podróbek, dużo serów, coraz więcej się robi. Trudno wytłumaczyć komuś. Ale są ludzie, którzy od serca wiedzą, że najlepszy produkt jest na bacówce w górach i tam przychodzą. I na tym korzystam. Z tego korzystam. Ale tak to jest dużo podróbek. Mleczarnie już zrobią fabryki. A najważniejsze jest to, że jak chce się u nas produkt kupić, tutaj w górach, w polskich Karpatach, w Polsce, to najlepiej jest przyjść do źródła, czyli do bacówki, do góry. Do bacówki, każdego bacy, co się zajmuje owcami. Jest bacówka, dejmij się, znaczy, że się osypki kręcą. No to tam się idzie, tam się kosztuje, bo tam jest właśnie te ręcznie robiony ser najlepszy.
There was one last thing I wanted to know about, and it's an amazing local tradition that has to do with fire.
Watra jest to ogień na bacówce palący się od maja do końca, do października. Watra od wieków w pasterstwie służyła jako ciepło. Dawała wszystko, dawała wędzenie serów, dawała na ciepłą wodę, dawała ogrzanie człowieka, ugotowanie, usmażenie, wszystko. Dała wszystko, to jest właśnie tak.
Jarek sat down by the fire and said a prayer.
I teraz zamykamy i wielci bacowie i wasi pomarli nie gwiazdy jutro rozwali. Cześć zimę.
It's time to go down the mountain. And I'm hitching a ride in the back of the truck. The cheeses are up front in the passenger seat, because the cheeses are the real VIPs here. And I'm in the back with the little pup. Cześć, Runek! So I'm here in the back with Runek, who is injured, so unfortunately he couldn't go herding today. But yeah, we're going home, hey? Going home for the season.
Today is the last day that the sheep are out in the mountains, and in just a few hours, they'll come down to the village for the first time since April and go back to their respective owners. Finally, Kamil has some company, with men from the village coming to spend these last moments of the season together.
So this is it. It's almost 2 p.m., which means that it's almost time to go to the local chapel, give thanks for this season, and finish it off. So we're just up here on a hill overlooking the chapel, and we'll head out there very soon. Yeah, after that, we celebrate.
In the meantime, I got a quick lesson in playing the traditional flute.
Tu język?
Tak, znaczy się do ust, tak?
Aha, okej.
I języczkiem. Języczkiem
I mowa. I palcem od dołu sobie już Newtony.
A tu. No nie wiem jak mi poszło, ale dziękuję. Well, I guess we started our celebration a little bit earlier, but cheers, na zdrowie.
While Kamil was walking around the pastures with the sheep, down in the local chapel, the community was getting ready to welcome the sheep back into the village at the end of a long season. This celebration I'm about to show you is called Redyk.
You know, it's a little bit wild to see so many people here, and the fact that this is like a pretty huge deal, a pretty big festival here in the Carpathians in Poland. And, you know, the vibe was just so different up on the mountain. It was just so different, so much more quiet. But here it's like, yeah, everybody's come to watch this big celebration.
The sheep are now down at the village for the first time in 5 months, and soon they'll spend the winter at lower altitudes. Meanwhile, today, Jarek, Kamil and the other shepherds get to celebrate their hard work over the last season. It probably helps that the whole community is out here watching and admiring, in awe of everything these shepherds do to keep tradition alive. At least for one more year.